What up? What up? Let's try this again. Like I said, it's been a little while, so I had some little technical difficulties here. Hopefully, you can hear me. We're going to be inspired by the Fighting Irish, and we were going to be making a Irish tricolor with a pendant, and possibly I might write Erin Go Bragh in the middle of the pendant. It's been a little while, so I might be a little out of practice, but we're going to give it a try. I've actually blown glass for 20 years, but I haven't really been in the shop solid, or maybe I've blown like a pendant or two for a friend, but I haven't really been in the studio since I made the awards for the American Liberty Awards. So you guys are in. I think maybe I blew the eagle pipe after that. Might have been one or two things, but overall I'm out of practice, but it's like riding a bike. So basically I'm going to grab these real quick. Let me just make sure my audio is coming through. Real quick, let me just make sure my audio is. All right, sounds good. So today we are going to be making, I will make some cane where you use clear glass and colored glass, and then you spin it, and it becomes like a cool spiral pattern, filigrano. So I might do a filigree and I might do a latticino. Some people call them different things. I'm old school, so these are what I grew up calling them. If you're an Italian glass blower, don't get mad at me. I'm just a pipe maker, man. So yeah, I used to blow pipes for years, but we're gonna blow a pendant today. So let's see here. Let's get our Herbert Arnold torch lined up here. I'm gonna get myself a little bit of this. Oh yeah, here we go. Let's get some fat glass. It's been a while. Let's say this looks like about might be 15 mil, but let me see here. It's a little dish. At a certain point, maybe I'll be just talking into the camera there. Let's see. Can you see me over there? Yeah. So it's a little weird of a setup. I don't have a cameraman, so this will probably crack here in a minute. I'm gonna get the end off of this, but yeah, there it is. So a little heat shock to the glass there. I'm gonna heat up a chunk of this, and I'm gonna flatten one side of it, and I'm gonna do it with another one. Then I'm gonna draw these color lines in between, and then I'm gonna spin it, and it's gonna make like a spiral like this. The inner spiral will be actually, you know what? I'm going to start off with an easier one. I'm going to start off with the latticino for the exterior filigrano style. Let's go ahead and I will put my white down here. You can see this. Anyway, how you guys doing? Are you guys sick of the news yet? I know I am. It's freaking maddening, just never knowing what's going on. The insanity just never ends. And, we're just in Chaosville. So, what I can control is I can control this glass. And once I alter the positioning of these particular atoms, they will remain altered for the foreseeable future. Light is a little bit more bubbly than I would like it, but not too bad. Turn down the oxygen a little bit. Might be a little too hot there. Okay, let's get another. So I'm going to do 2 whites. I'm going to layer this on here. And then I'm going to do an orange. Actually, I might do 2 whites on either side here, because this white is a little skinnier than the other 2 colors. So let's see here. We've got to get another one on this side. Try to get them nice and tight together. Okay. Another one over here. Get the color in there next to the other one without trapping an air bubble, ideally. Air bubbles, just not your friend. Air bubbles and extra heat shock from cold to hot. So once the glass gets warm, it kind of becomes almost like toffee or something like that. But when it's cold, if you introduce heat to it, it will shock. So here we go. We'll use our orange here, little orange. It's like a 7 mil rod there. I'll put an orange stripe. Now when I heat this up, it's going to change colors. It almost look like a dark red, almost like a black. Everything shifts up. You can see the shift, the color shift. So like yellow will become orange, you know, and orange will become red. So I'll go nice fat wodge of orange coming down here. I should do the whole thing like an Irishman now. Sure, you know, I used to live in Ireland there for a little while now. My mother, she wanted to go back and see her grandma. So we went over and we lived there for a couple of years now. And I went to school in St. Brendan's. So when I see all those people out there in Coolock, I think about where I grew up. And it's quite a trip, I must say. Quite a trip indeed. And it was a deadly crack when I was growing up now. We were kind of gurriers, little bastards. We used to get in all kinds of trouble now. Sure we did. Now I'll put a little green on there. For their 40 shades of green in Ireland now, they say. Of course, there's more than that. Now they've got the ganja too, so there's at least 41. There might be 42, 420 if you know what I mean. But the Irish have been known to smoke a bowl or two. Of course, back in the day, they used to have hash only, which would be brown. Get it from Morocco and such. So here we go now. We're laying down this color. And we're putting it on there onto this rod. And we're going to spin it out now. We're going to spin it. And we're going to spin it like mad. We're going to spin it like a bastard. Again, this side is a little bit more tricky now because we've got to get the air bubbles out, and doing it switch dance almost like skateboard backwards on this side is a wee bit harder than it is in the forehand style now. Now sometimes you can just twist these up the way they are and they're beautiful, but I like it makes it spin out a little easier now if I make it even. Now you see, this is what we're dealing with here now. That's your little one Irish flag, two Irish flags, and in the space in between to make it spin out a little bit nicer, I'm going to put in some clear now. I'll put a little clear in there. I need to get it a little bit more. That's kind of dirty now, because I've let the dust gather here on my desk, and the problem is, when you get dust on the glass, it will actually enter into the glass and it will make it part of the glass. Sometimes it will crack if you get too much in there now. But if you clear it off, you'll get less bubbles and you'll get less crack, even though you want the crack. And in Ireland now, the crack means a good time. So you say when you go out to the bar, you say, "Did you have a good? How was the crack?" And they say, "It was a grand crack last night. So we met these girls and then we had the crack. Sure, we had the great crack." And that would mean we had like cracking jokes, like great crack. That's an Irishism for you. So here we go. I'm going to put a little bit more, got a little color on there. I don't want that. So I'm going to take that off. I'm going to put this little bit more clear on there now. To be perfectly clear now, I'd like to put some clear glass on there now to even it out. Sure, I like to even it out, you know. And then it will spiral out more even. Because I'm out of practice and I'm going to need all the help I can get to make this nice and smooth now, aren't I? There you go. Get in there now, will you? For God's sake. Jesus, Mary and Holy St. Joseph. Now, I don't want to knock my camera off a tripod now, but I'll be heating this up for a little while. And I got a Guinness now. It's a non-alcoholic Guinness because I'm 15 days into a month and a half now, way more than 15 days. Have a wee swig at the pint there now. Now I need to find another piece of glass to spin this here now. I'm unorganized, so I have to grab this little bit of glass here off the table, and then I'll get that warmed up now. Now I want to have this here little bit at the end now. I got to make sure that's all melted in, because when I finish up my spiraling, that will cause a crack right there at the back, and not good crack. This is bad crack now. Any crack in glass is bad. Now you might be having a grand crack while you're doing it, but trust me, you don't want any crack in your glass. Not good at all. Not good at all at all. So I was just talking to my man over there, Fergus Power now. He's on the front lines. I got another live stream up there on the top of my page. It'll show you what he's talking about. Now, we've seen a lot of viral clips and a couple of these politicians. They sound good on paper, if you know what I mean, but in reality, they're not really that good, you know? So he was telling me who to believe and who not to, and basically, as you can imagine, if they're a politician, they're probably lying if their lips are moving. So you can see it's already starting to spin up, but I'm looking for a much tighter spiral than that. But again, like I said, I want to have this nicely melted in here at the back, so when I pull these off, it doesn't shatter on me, because there's a fair amount of work that goes into these things. I don't know if you can hear the Gaelic music in the background, but it's nice. It's adding a nice touch, I must say. You know, Ireland has a grand glass blowing tradition. The Waterford glass is like one of the most highly prized glasses in the world now. So here we go. It's looking like a nice, smooth sausage there. I'm better at spinning with my right hand, so I'm going to flip her around here. And I'm going to use my marver to hold her up there now. And I'm going to bring up my oxygen a wee bit there. I want to get it nice and hot. And we'll be spinning away, sir. Now when we get this here going, there you go, you see it's getting wobbly on me. So now I'm going to start spinning this here. And once I start spinning, we don't stop. It's kind of like the farmers down there now. Once you start, you don't stop. Now, we learned that from the J6ers now. They went in with high hopes, and the next thing they tried to be cool, and then the system turned on them and tried to put them in jail for the rest of their lives. You see that spinning there now? And now when I start spinning, I'm going to be pulling out slow, and I'm going to spin like the dickens. I'm going to try and spin that as fast as I can now. I'm not doing too bad considering I haven't been on the torch for a while now. Spinning, 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 spin, spin, spin. Keep on spinning that little bugger. And you keep trying to spin the other hand so that it comes out straight for you now. So I like to get as much of this out of it as I can at the same time while I'm pulling. If I can get a nice long chunk, then I can start working. This will be nice in the background of my pendant, sure. I'm a wee bit out of practice, so I'm gonna just do this in 2 goes here now, because I have this joint wodge on me left. Normally I don't spin it with such a big chunk on the left hand side because it kind of gets it all wonky, you know. So let me see. I'm going to put this here now and cut that off there. And hopefully it doesn't get wobbly on me. There we go. That's grand right there. Now you got yourself a nice little spiral. Now the problem with these things is if they hit the ground, they'll shatter. They'll shatter all over you now. It'll be a one big pile of shite. It will. But if you see that when it cools down, it will be the tricolour there now. So I'm going to be very careful with that, because this will shatter. Trust me on that one. I might have to cut it off because it's so long. It's so long it will fall off my desk. I've been out of practice and all. I'm a little, you know, I got some of these things a little out of whack here. And also I got the camera. The camera's in my way. Normally I'd have my left hand a little lower. It'd be a little easier, but I got to work around it now. I don't know if I'm from the South Ireland or Northern Ireland at this point. It's starting to sound a little funny. But I'm going to keep it going. Why not? But I might be from Dublin. I might be from Dublin. In the fucking I swear a little bit more if I'm from football. The fucking glass. I told the fucking glass what to do now. But the glass does not fucking listen. And for God's sake, if you're ever going to get glass, get it to fucking listen to you. Because it doesn't have ears. So here we go. We're going to cut this off here now. I might make a wee pendant now for someone if they want to. Put a first comment, say, I would like that little mini pendant, and then I'll give it to you. I'll send it to you. And even if it's Ireland, sure, I'll send it off to you now. So it's pretty light. Won't cost me too much. So there you go. There's a little bit. And that's a nice one right there. I got that cut off. And now where's the other part? I'm bloody stoned. Can't even figure out where the hell the rest of me last chino is. It's going to crack if I don't find it. Somewhere around here somewhere. Ah, sure, there it is now. Sure, there it is. I'm just going to bring this off here now. The other one I don't want it to crack. Losing my heat over here. The minute it gets cold, it starts wanting to crack on itself now. So I'm going to keep the two of them in there hot. Hopefully this won't explode, and if it does, then I'll have to make you another one if you leave the comment now. You can have a commemorative little Irish spiral of love. That is if it doesn't explode now, like I said. No guarantees. There's no guarantees in life, you know. Sure, there we go. We're going to spiral out a wee bit more of this here. And then we're going to get our spiraling again. I'm going to get a nice chunk on there so I get a thick weld. If you're not paying attention to the glass blowing world, I tell you, it's quite a sight. You know, when I used to blow bongs and such back in the day, you know, there was a lot of amazing people, but some of the stuff they make now, it's fucking insane. It is fucking insane. The incredible nature of the pieces that they're making are absolutely beautiful. Now, if you want to look up some glass blowers, look up a boy named Banjo. He's an absolute genius. Some of his glass pipes sell for $150,000. That's a lot of money for a pipe. But it's more of a work of art. Some of these things are like, they're like deities from a DMT realm with hundreds of pieces attached and welded to them. They look super psychedelic now. Now I sound like I'm from Cork a little bit. Culchy. I've gotten a little culchy on you now. But so here we go. We're trying to get our spin going, but I don't want to lose my left-hand side here. I got to keep it kind of thick. I don't want it getting too thin on me now. I want to like it thick. Now, like I like my women, thick in the head and thick in the toys, if you know what I mean. I get the spiral now. I got to spiral this thing and get a little jig rolling. And here we go. We're going down now. We're spiraling out. There's your little spirals coming off. It's like pulling taffy or rock cane now. Beautiful little spirals coming off there now. Beautiful, nice and thick. Sure. It'll be a grand spiral and it'll look beautiful. I might be able to use a little bit of this for the bail, the loop that goes onto the pendant to hold it up now, to stop it from falling off now. The gravity will take over and pull the pendant to the ground, and next thing you know, you'll have it shattered. You'll have it cracked and shattered and it'll be all over now. But I like this. It's coming out nice and thick. Nice and thick there. I'll be able to use the smaller one for some detail on the pendant, and then I can use this thicker one here, maybe for around the edge or a little loop. We'll get it going now here in a second. I want to finish this up. There's no sense in keeping this other little chunk on here. I might as well work it out and use it all up. And if I have any extra, I'll make a pipe out of it later. A marijuana pipe, possibly. Now, you can actually smoke marijuana legally over here now in America. In California, they've gone crazy. They legalized the weed now. Back when I used to do it, sure, it was illegal to blow a pipe. And you had to call it a water pipe, or you had to call it a tobacco pipe. But now that everyone's got a bong, now they've all moved on to vapes. Everyone's vaping. Turns out the vapes are just as bad for you as the other things. It's a real deal now. Now, who the hell's making the vapes? China. A lot of people in China, they're probably putting fentanyl in there. I just realized I got no ventilation. I had it on before, but I'm flailing, I told you. I told you I'm flailing. I got to turn it on, because I'm dying in here with no oxygen. There it is now. Hopefully it doesn't mess up with the audio too much. So here we go. Look at that beautiful thing right there now. This one's looking nice. Already got a little bit more skill than on the last one. There you go now. You can see a beautiful spiral. Nice and tight. If you see it up person in off camera, you'll see it's actually a lot tighter and nicer than it looks there. Not doing it justice, I wouldn't say. There you go. Maybe now you can see a little bit. So with that in mind, let us get a little bit of glass now. I'll pull a little bit of white out now. Now I got to get the white. I got to get the white now to do some drawing on the back here. This white here is a little more bubbly than I like. I thought it was a little bit better quality, but I'm going to try and work with it. If I heat it up slowly, it will bubble less. So I'm going to put this on here now. And what I'm trying to do now is I'm pulling it out almost as thin as a lead pencil now, so you can draw with it. So I'll use that a little bit later to put the Erin Go Bra in the middle there now. And hopefully, seeing as I'm so out of practice and flailing and all, I won't fuck it up now. And if I do, I'll try again. Sure, that's the way you do it now. It's been so long, I'm just glad to be back on the mic here, as they say. So I heat up our way a bit now, and then eventually I'm going to do a little pulling, make a nice tin rod out of it. And not to get it too hot in any one area, so that I get a nice even thing. Let's pull it out now. And there you go. It says a little hotter in the center, so you can get. Ah, sure, that's not bad now. That's not bad. That's not bad now. So we turn that down. We want a small flame now, a tiny little flame here. I'm going to use this and just I might end up needing it a wee bit at the end if it breaks off on me. So here we go. Let me see here now. I was just going to pull it off a regular point, but I'm going to put it on a little end to make it a little tighter now, a little bit nicer. Because I want it to be clean. I could probably pull it off back in the day now, but like I said, I'm a wee bit out of practice, so I want to make sure this is nice and clean here. I'm going to wind out this little tube here so I can stick another larger piece on there. Larger piece of tubing. A 44 mil, I think now. 44. 44. So here we go. I got my little bit at the end there now. Got the end that I'm going to be putting the larger bit on. Then I'm going to blow a bubble. Then I'm going to write Erin Go Bra backwards, so that when you blow it out, it comes around the other side and you see it's the right way around. It's called inside out. And to do it, you have to do it backwards now. And here we go. There's dust over everything. Filthy it is. Filthy the shop is. So here we go now. I don't want to crack this here tubing, so I don't want to heat it up too quickly now. Get it a little warm there now. At a certain point, you got to commit. If you don't commit, it's going to crack on you. I think it would have cracked by now. So now it's getting warm. I could pull it out. They call this pulling a point. And a lot of glass blowers out there now are going to be laughing at me because my point pulling skills. This is a nice skill for a real good glass blower to have a really good point. And sure, I'm out of practice so bad, my point's probably going to look like dog shite. If you just tuned in, we're making a pendant for Ireland. I just pulled a Latticino out with the tricolour on both sides. Green, white and green. Sure, I'm focusing on the bloody glass. I can't even talk. Sound like I'm drunk. Orange, white and green, the tricolour. And right now I'm just pulling off a wee bit so I can get a nice point here now. So Later on, when I want to hold that other piece of glass to my left-hand side, I'll be using it like I use the one up here now. I try to keep it centered. Try to keep it centered. Because when you get to blowing glass, anything off center, I don't know if you've ever done pottery, but it's the same thing. Because if it gets off center now, you're fucked. You got everything all the time trying to get it centered. I'll pop a little hole there now. Right, bet you didn't know old Matt Baker blew glass. Before he got famous here now on the Twitters, before he went Hail Fauci, before he did the bong song at Woodstock, he was a glassblower. Sure he was. And I actually used to have the most famous glassblowing video in the entire world on YouTube before they took my channel away from the damn bloody COVID crap. So they stole my birthright because I had the number 1, number 2, number 3, and the 8th most popular glassblowing video on YouTube. Not because I was the greatest glassblower, but I was the first person to ever put up a how-to video. Sure, back then, they used to hide all the tricks of the glass blowing. And you had to be basically in like a kind of mafia. It was all the weed growers. They had their secret tricks. While they sit around waiting for their plants to grow, they would blow glass. And maybe some of them use it as some kind of money laundering or something. But we had a lot of time on our hands. And so we used to blow glass. And the people up in Oregon, they got so good. It was amazing. Now, if you know anything about the history of glass blowing, you know about Bob Snodgrass. He was one of the first people. Charlie was the first person to ever blow glass pipes, really. Certainly in the heady style, the style of the art movement. It started on the Grateful Dead lots now, hippies that met Bob Snodgrass, eventually went to his house in Oregon, and he would teach him how to do it. Sure, he would drive around in his VW bus, and he would actually blow glass right there out of his van. I went and I saw his actual van myself when I was up there in Oregon a wee bit ago. So now I'm sticking these two here together. You see that? That's just going to give me a nice fat chunk at the end there. Now I can lose a little bit of the glass, but I just want it to be nice and even so that when I blow the bubble, the more round and centered it is, the easier it will be to collapse it in. And you'll see the lettering. Again, this is going to say Erin Go Bragh. I have to write it on there backwards now to get it to work, to get it to do its thing. So here we go now. I'm just pulling off a little bit more here. I pull off the glass. Try not to get a big chunk on the end there. Because that will always collapse in and it ends up making a big bump in the center of your glass. It causes the lettering to wobble off. I'm going to turn the heat down a wee bit here because the better you are, the hotter you can work. Not that you have to work hot, but the better you are, the hotter you can work now. And seeing as I'm a little out of practice, I need to cool me jets down here a wee bit so that it doesn't get too floppy on me. The perfect amount of heat. But like I said, the better you are, the easier it is for you to control when it's a little floppier. So I'm going to blow a bubble. You might not see this part, but when it comes back into the frame, it's going to be a disc and it's going to be flat. So there we have our disc now. Because you see a lot of it now. Instead of a bubble, you got a flat disc. The idea is to draw the lettering on this nice flat disc here. But the flatter and the more even it is, the better it will come out later. That's about as good as we're getting right now. Now, I'm going to use a little bit of my Latticino here now. I'm going to wrap it around the edge. Always got to keep this in the heat because otherwise I'm going to take that off because it's a little uneven. I'll use that later. But see how nice and even that part is there. I want to lay it down so it's nice and even. It will make a nice circle when I'm done. So not too hot. Lay this here now on the outside there. This will give me a reference point when I'm drawing out my lettering to make sure it's not going over the edge now. Now where I attach the two, hopefully if I do it right, I can, sometimes you get it just perfect. That's pretty good right there now. You may not even see it, but depending on how it goes here, when I heat it up, I'll probably put the loop that holds the pendant. I'll hold it at the top there where it comes together now. You see that? It has the color on the edge. You see that now? See that there? Little bit of, I want to say red, gold, and green, but it's orange, white, and green. So there you go. You got a nice little disc there to start off with. Let's just warm that up because this is notorious for cracking here now. The more you have everything melted in and nice and even, the better. All right. Now, I took the time to write it out backwards. So we got it on this side here. It says Éireann Go Bragh backwards. And this side says it the right way around. Now, depending on your camera and the mirror and everything, it might be a little different. I'm going to try this here. Get that flame tiny now. Heat that up there now. You don't hear me talking too much when I do that because I get a little worried. So I feel like I'm drunk. My hand's shaking. Maybe I do need a drink after all. Out of practice. Your fine micro skills go out the window now. And hopefully I have enough room to put it in there. I'll end up like Idiocracy with the writing going off the edge now. All right now. It's been a while since I've done that. It's very tricky. I shouldn't have drawn glass right on the first time I started blowing, but you can kind of see it there now. It's backwards. Or you might be able to see it forward, but we'll see now. I'm gonna put a couple of bits of silver on there now. You melt down some silver. You put a few blobs on there and give it a nice background color. Like a blue fume, they call it. A silver fume. Hopefully we can get it here now. There we go. We got a little on there now. Put a couple of clear dots on there just for fun. They look fun when they melt in. They look like little clouds. Put a couple of little dots on there just for fun. It'll also even it out now a little bit. All right, now time to collapse it. So when you see it the right way around, you see it from the other side, and it will. That's why it's kind of tricky because you have to you're not only melting molten glass and trying to draw with a piece of molten rock, basically liquid rock. At the same time, you got to write it backwards. And then you got to figure out your layout to make sure it doesn't all go wonky on you. And when you melt it in, you want to keep it nice and slow. Don't go too fast now. Otherwise, you'll bubble up all your color. And those G's are pretty hard. The G's look a little funny. We'll see how they come out now. The more you melt this in, the more 3D it gets now. But if you melt it in too much, it'll become so 3D it'll look crazy. It won't even look like the writing anymore. Just carefully melt it in now. I want to let this edge roll in a wee bit now. Make it nice and thick around the edge there. Now you'll have to tune in tomorrow and look at the comments to see what it came out like. Now it could very well come out like shite, like I said, it's been a while now. But I gotta start somewhere. Had to have a reason to live, as I used to say. A reason to go out in the glass shop and make something happen. Make some magic. Try and straighten that out a little bit. And flatten it out. Straighten it and flatten it. It's not too bad. Not too bad for you trying to draw with the volcano. You're basically using molten rock, drawing with molten rock. It's amazing it works at all. Thousands of years mankind has been blowing glass now, or melting glass in one form or another. You could say it could be one of the greatest things that ever happened because fiber optics to this day and age, TVs, LEDs, lasers, they all use glass now. The original computers were made with glass. They had glass. Glass valves used to do the computing, the computers now. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to punt you up to the back. That will be like a little chunk of glass there now. Holding the back side of this pendant. And then I will pull it off and I will take the bubble off the front. And then you should hopefully see some kind of resemblance of the words Erin Gobrana for the Irish. Put a little bit more fume on there now. There you go. Nice and thick. Nice thick fume on the back there now. Hook that in. Nice and thick. Thick. Thick it is. Nice and thick. So here we go now. Hopefully you're not getting too bored now. I tried to make it funny with the glass. But the other tags now. But we're going to be taking this off here now and you'll be able to see shortly. It'll become rounding up now. I'll put a tiny little dot on there now. Now I try not to put too much on there, but I want to be able to hold the glass from the other side now. And eventually I'm going to pop this bubble and I'm going to take it off. Hopefully that's not too wonky there now. But I don't want to get it too thick. But if it falls off now, it could shatter the whole piece. So now I'm going to heat up the middle here and I'm going to blow it real thin and eventually the glass will actually pop and you'll end up with looking at the other side of the pendant here now. Now I could have put this in the bottom of a shot glass. That would have been grand too, and if you want one, let me know. I used to put shamrocks in them. Draw a shamrock on there and then pull it off the other side. In fact, I only just remembered it now as I started doing this. So it's all coming back to me now. So I'll be tinning this out, tinning it out, and eventually I'm going to blow on it. And I'm going to make a joint bubble. You can see it here now. The thinner the better on that now. You see, that could have been like a shot glass there, but it's too thin. So eventually we pull this off here. No, it's not too bad. You see that? Now, if it's the wrong way around, it's the right way around. I don't know, because they tell you to put it on mirror image if you're using a forward-facing camera. So trust me, it's the right way around now. And now I'm heating this up here. I want to try and melt that back in. melting in the inside layer now. Because you see, when a glass gets too tight on itself, if it gets past anything that an ant couldn't skateboard on, you might get a little cracking. Any tiny little sharp welds, or if the rim here folds over on itself, then you end up with a cleavage point there now. Spin it now, keep it going so it doesn't fall in on itself. If the glass moves when it's dry and cooling down, it can get stress marks on the surface, and it doesn't look very good. Not bad, not bad. I wouldn't exactly call it heady, but sure, it's grand now. Not quite heady, but it sure is nice. And it's the thought that counts. Now I got to pull this backside off. It's back and forth over here. We're going forward, 2 steps forward to go 2 steps back. But I got to get that off now to make it nice and flat. And you see that? That's what's called a cold seal there now. The little ticker over here in this one spot, it might take up a wee bit of glass there now. Put a little decoration on the outside here now. Right now. Remember we were talking about using a little bit for a loop now. So I'm going to melt a wee bit of this here. We're going to make us a loop out of it. Maybe a little thicker. Try to get the loop the right size now. We'll take the other side off. Got to do this before the other one gets too cold or you're going to end up cracking it. Lots of times I'll make the loop first and have it in the kiln waiting. So at this point I can just slap it on, but I'm out of practice like I told you. Got a little loop-de-loop here now. Warm this bad boy up so she doesn't crack on us. Pulling off some excess here now on the thing so I don't need to use another rod. Again, got to do this quick because that will crack right there on the rod now and then I'll lose my pendant on the floor. Looking like about the right size now. Just pull that in a wee bit. So now I want to make sure it's a nice up and down, top to bottom, symmetrical. So when you read it, you don't feel like you're drunk. There you go now. There's a little loop on there, but I got to melt it in, round it out a little. You got to get it off real quick because I can already feel it cracking. Gotta have my tweezers. Tweezers to keep it open now. Got to be careful now. Got to make sure that bill, that loop's on there good, or you lose your whole pendant later on down the road now. There it is now. Can't see it, can you? I'll post it tomorrow. It's hard to see now in the light. Well, I hope I'm not boring you. You can tune out now. I'm pretty much done. I'll tune it in tomorrow. I can't take my hands off. You'll see what it came out like. For all we know, it could crack. You never know. But I'll try again if it does. Might make it look like it's dripping a little bit. I'll heat this up now. If you're anybody still there, heat this up so it doesn't crack it now when I take it off. There it is now. Sorry for keeping you so long. A couple of you watched it. I thought I might just share that with you now.